2 hours ago, heading into the weekend here, we are dealing with quite the rebound. Once again, market back to the upside in a big way. I want to start off with this, as we typically do here in the afternoon. The market's up, and there's the dollar having a very, very nice day as well, back to the upside in a pretty big way, coming off some of this economic data that we got this morning. It's worth noting yields across the board all downside off that PCE number this morning, and the GDP print we got earlier in the week also, I think, actually helping in this case to the downside today. But yeah, a ton of things moving around. Obviously, this afternoon we'll get into Google again. We'll touch on Microsoft. Those were the two biggest ones that we were dealing with this morning. Absolute monster move after the close yesterday for Google. It was a bit of a sell the news kind of event this morning. And then not too much. It's been pretty much sideways ever since. Back and forth we go. Meanwhile, for Tesla today, it is, well, it just went negative again. It was positive when I came and sat down here, but back to the downside ever so slightly there for Tesla. Green overall, but we are dealing with some areas of the market still showing a little weakness. The banks, one of those. Most of the big banks positive on the day, but there are some negativity, or there is some negativity coming from the financial sector. AbbVie notably weak there on a note this morning. 5.5%. Oil names all down with crude, XOM 2.4%. Utilities offsetting as well, along with some of the consumer discretionary names. But who cares? Because Google's up 10%. NVIDIA up almost 6%. Amazon better part of 4%. Amazon next week. Apple next week. I mean, this was a huge week for earnings, but yeah, more to come next week as well. There is the NASDAQ. We did get a little bit of a dip to start things off this morning out of the gate, but then, as I said, nice rebound. Straight to the upside, coming off Google and coming off Microsoft. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to show these numbers here once again. Here's, if you missed it this morning, inflation basically in line with expectation. Core PCE month over month, 0.3% to the upside. The price index, 0.3% to the upside. Overall, 2.7 versus 2.6, 2.8 versus 2.7 on the core number. Yes, it's an uptick, but coming off that CPI and GDP numbers, I think it could have been a lot worse as far as how much of an uptick. I mean, there's a lot of comments, a lot of analysts talking today about how cuts are off the table now. Jerome Powell's not going to be able to do anything for the remainder of the year. That remains to be seen, I think. But with that GDP, such a negative print, it's kind of a tale of two stories at this point. But anyways, lots to consider as far as the overall market is concerned. Let's touch on Google. Just an absolute monstrous report. Doesn't matter how you look at it. But I mean, you guys were saying this morning, we were up so much in the pre-market. There was a very, very clear level that got taken out right out of the gate today.
All right, what's up? I just went long on Philip Morris here because apparently the Biden administration has decided to allow menthol cigarettes to be consumed. I guess there was some sort of a ban on that or something. So I don't know. I have no idea where the stock's going to go. But Philip Morris on the last daily, nice little upside. Hey, what's up, Randy? He's there in the abyss, or what do we call that? The dimension. Yeah, it's okay because it shows multiple Randy. Show that again.
Infinite Randy.
Let's show the infinite Randys again. There we go, see? I'm gonna move forward a couple steps. There we go, see? All right, that was fun. Okay, so yeah, we'll see. We were sitting up here at 92. It actually went to 88. Just randomly put it there. Let's see what happens with Philip Morris. A little bit of a breakdown into this level we'll get out. Again, a news play. We've done these before. We'll try to shoot the moon. If not, then we'll get out here 43. So let's put that stop in right now. 43. Breaking back down below 50s is what we'll do. Halfway both ways. That's that one for that. We're still short Tesla, but yeah, Google was a great trade today. We were long early and broke 170 and we got out. We haven't really done anything since. It's been a pretty boring day here in the afternoon for Google, tops and bottoms. We'll talk about the damage that we did on Tesla, which in my opinion is a little easier, and we'll talk about that. But Google, yeah, good trade today, bouncing off that 170. I like the report, up 10%. Down on the day though, considering where we started. So yeah, I don't know, pretty boring, but exciting early, boring late. Nothing wrong with that.
I would say holding VWAP up 10% is pretty bullish.
Oh yeah.
Even if because it really did try to fill in the gap. There's no question about it. Like it broke the pre-market low, that 73 level. I like 73 and 70, so those are the only two places I traded it. But each one I was holding for a bigger move. So when I'm getting out for a loss, the scalp trades weren't going to work it out for me. So I'll end up down on the stock. But I'll grant you, you'll hold on to VWAP and do a lot of volume sideways. If the market pulls back and this holds on, I'd say that's a fantastic effort for Alphabet, because sometimes profit taking comes in, and some of it did, but I'd like to say it was pretty solid there for Google. Obviously, I mean, you can say anything you want about the quarter. It was objectively good. You know, that's sometimes we're like, yeah, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's about the reaction. No, but this was objectively good. And if you're wondering, we were talking about why Amazon was so strong, because both, we'll talk about Microsoft, but Google quadrupled their cloud revenues. Quadrupled is good, last time I checked.
Yeah,
You know, growth, usually the markets like growth. And 2 down, we'll talk about what happens when you don't get growth.
Ouch.
All right, we'll touch on Microsoft as well. Downside out of the gate this morning after the big move after the close yesterday, but still, I mean, pretty positive here. 2.6%, right? Yeah, 2.6% for Microsoft on the day overall, but not much of a bounce along with the market.
Yeah, that part you're highlighting right there, that consolidation phase is what I saw there in the midday show. Very consolidative midday. But let's talk about how they did on their earnings. Net income was an absolute blowout there, $21.94 billion. The street was, last time around they printed 18.3. Revenue grew 17%. They did quite good with their cloud segment. So Microsoft, or their Azure absolutely did very well, grew 31% year over year. The issue with this, which stopped it from going a little bit higher, was the guide. $64 billion in revenue they guided. The street was looking for 64.5.
Market coming back in a little bit, guys. Still 1.7 on the overall NASDAQ, but just saw Tesla pop up here on a bit of a downtick and some volume coming into the sell side as well.
Frank, I'm not drinking coffee. Yeah, sorry, thank you, Randy. He just got me the tea. So after afternoon tea.
Because, you know, he made fun of me for getting the tea, and then cheers, and then
yeah, there you
all
go.
of a sudden.
Don't hate on the team. Otherwise, out of sheer principle, I'll just start drinking tea more. Just because, no, just seriously, I don't know.
Excuse me.
I can't do caffeine after afternoon. What's so funny, Ramin? I don't even, okay, whatever. I didn't trade Microsoft.
Lemon ginger.
Did you trading in Microsoft today?
Microsoft, never heard of it. Microsoft along. Okay, yeah. No, it went down to we were looking at that 05 level there.
Oh, what?
Someone had noted that it came into 05. We had written down on the sticky note 05. Look, I mean, it was pretty simple for me. I knew we weren't going to trade this today. I wanted to write it down in case levels hit. We always do that. Here's the profile here. Man, check your notifications. It's like my kids. Oh, I didn't see your text come in. There it is right there. 405 dip, 417 break. Either one of those we wanted. Otherwise, we said it was pretty cloudy out here for Softy. It was expected to move about 5%. It's moving half of that. It's really stuck right now. That's that 405 bottom. I wish we wrote down 406 because then we would have been in it, but we weren't. We missed it. It pops all the way up to 412 off that. Look, I like the quarter. I think it's fine. But honestly, if this market slips, this one may slip up. So I'm a little nervous, you know, about Microsoft, but it's holding out okay. It's still near the tops. It's just when you see Amazon and Google and not really Meta. Meta already had the bad quarter, but I just not super exciting. I guess it's just in line. I'm fine with Microsoft. I don't know, just been boring lately. You even said this earlier. We hadn't traded Microsoft in a long time.
I'm trying to think of the last time.
And I don't know why. It used to be my favorite stock, and I feel like now that it's got up into the $400, it's a little expensive, and I haven't got a good feel for it. So Microsoft for me in the last couple months has been kind of a nothing, but here it is, 412, 413. I think that's a good level there to short.
I don't wonder, and I'm thinking aloud. I didn't trade it, but I don't mind the notion of maybe sometimes if it's an underwhelming earnings move, just look for the opening range to hold out. Because like once it made, like there's where it broke down, that's at 9:30. It then tapped there at 10:30. So you have like a good hour of data. And if you just sort of played that, it gave you one more chance to short it and you played into VWAP. Like there is nothing wrong with that as a trade. It's just if you're doing anything else, it's a waste of time. So, you know, I don't wonder if that's not going to be a thing. If you find it a little bit boring, just allow it to make that level in the first hour, and then from there, just play that it's going to be an inside day. But I'm not trading Microsoft. It's been a while. You know, certainly Google, I think, gave you more opportunities. We're in a few other names, and we'll get to Intel which, believe it or not, like Intel wasn't actually an easy short today. It was more of a long trade off of the open, despite the fact that they did not have a good quarter, guys.
It was
done.
a different story. Intel, yeah, we were just saying could have been maybe a little bit worse than it actually ends up being. Bottoming yesterday ends up being a pretty decent pivot here. We're trying to get back higher right now, but not good for INTC off earnings.
Yeah, it was interesting earnings call yesterday with Patty Gelsinger. He was saying, be patient with us. We're changing the type of company that we are into the one that we want to be, which is a foundry business. And this time around was the first time they actually reported their foundry business on a separate line. They drew $4.4 billion in revenue, which, believe it or not, is down 10% on the year in terms of how much revenue they generated. With respect to earnings, they lost about $400 million, a lot better than they did last year at $2.8 billion. It was a 9% year-over-year increase on revenue, though, Brendo. So.
I just saw an alert on that restaurant stock, Cava, day highs and a big volume spike there, 10.8%. I actually don't see anything on this, but Cava trying to get back to highs.
I remember that stock.
Yeah.
I think we looked at it in the IPO, and that was about it. Yeah, like I think, it's not their first report. I feel like I probably called it up when they had their first earnings report, and then probably just didn't care about it after that. But Toast is the one that people talk about. Like that's the software company for restaurants. So Intel, we said look, the mistake obviously on Intel, and the next time I feel this way about the stock, I will just sit in it and this has happened before. This has happened in Rivian, and it's like just sit in the short if you like it at the open, instead of hoping that you're going to get the actual execution that you want. Because what ends up happening is I miss the move down. I miss the first pop short, which would have been great. So that's the first available pop on Intel. I only wanted to be short. I shorted under VWAP and lose. I shorted at 31.5, and that could have been great, but believe me when I tell you that I was holding more than half of it for the push down. Right? Like this is the one I liked. So I held more than half of it, still reloaded, and then eventually lost. Then I was shorting in front of the pre-market low. So I'm waiting for each of my levels, but each time I'm holding that move. I want VWAP, and then I'm holding half for underneath VWAP. And then a similar thing happened when it got to 32. The only difference up here is this far into the end of the day, when I shorted it off of 32.25, this one I got almost all of it out in front of VWAP. So I learned the lesson and said, hey, if it's just going to trend higher, we won't get it all back, but at least I got about 2/3 of it back on that short, and I'm holding some for 31 here. So Intel might have made a temporary bottom on the daily chart. I would, I'm already pretty patient with it, so I'm glad Pat said what I've been thinking, because I'm waiting for this for a couple of years, and certainly maybe I'll buy some early next year. Maybe a quarter gets better down the line. But I think you can get down at some point $25, and that would be the next level. If it gets there before I like a buy, I might have a decision to make. But yeah, I think it's going to be a short to pop situation. But it hit SSR today at the open, and then it started rallying a bit, which meant you had to be a bit patient. And then for the chips, I am short ARM currently. I mean, obviously I have Intel as well. But ARM's now at VWAP. I had this 3 times. First one good, second one stopped the high, then we got the lower high. I'm looking for it to break the 100 level. We've already scalped it into VWAP. But NVIDIA's given up the top a little bit. So I think the chips could be giving us something here with NVIDIA making some lower highs.
I don't know if you guys are in anything for Tesla here. We don't have it on the board right now. But we had talked about this. Remember Sharif? Sharif's up on the... Remember these Tesla shorts?
You remember them, Katina, man.
I mean, look what just happened. We are falling apart right now on Tesla. Now $3 in the money off of numerous reloads up there. So, I mean, Tesla is really, really starting to go back into the downside. Thank you, Sharif. Missed opportunity of the day, AMD. We had written it down 159. It got as high as 158.50 about 5 times here. I actually wasn't here any of the times. Like right here, I was sitting here, but I wasn't paying attention. Then we left. We weren't here during the afternoon, and we should have just now at 1:30 taken that because I was sitting there for that one. Wow.
I was on it, but then I got up, set a stop. It stopped out.
Yep.
And then when I came back, I'm like, oh, I'll just get it back again because it was giving it to you over and over again, and that was the last time it came up.
Yeah, no. So for this one, I would have just used the stop for 159, so I would have had to have at least made 50 cents. But yeah, that's a tough trade, especially when the market's going against you and you have NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA is the one moving around today. Like again, just straight up 6%. Like shout out to Chef Joe and everybody that's been doing this. We actually talked. Look at Tesla's now $4, by the way. And I want, like we do this often, okay? But I just want to figure out what this says here. 172 that has held. Okay, like that today, the top is like 171.90 or something. Like it broke 172 there, so I guess, yeah, so that's where we got stopped out the first time. And then right there, 172.20 or something. So it's like, it's really good to see this working out. I mean, obviously Tesla's been in trouble there for a little bit. Nice recovery on their quarter. But look where we got to, right to the 50-period moving average. Remember with Pan W had that huge move down, went to the 200, then back to the 50 and stopped, and then reversed back again. I mean, watch out for Tesla. That, I wonder, you know, if Apple misses or something happens now with the NASDAQ, if we don't go back to really hitting Tesla again on what was a bad quarter, but a good guide forward on those cheaper EVs and robo-taxis. But we'll be talking a lot about that on the podcast tonight, which we'll be starting, of course, we'll be starting taping it around 4:45. No. I always get in trouble because Ramin's like, we got to tape this immediately because she's got to get out of here.
She needs to shop those deals.
Whatever.
She's like the shopping maven.
Well, you know what thing is, I was telling Randy.
What was the line from this
I
morning?
only have 2 kids, but we got 3 sporting events today. Barron has golf at 5:30.
Well, you have 3 kids.
Then he has hockey at 7:30. And then I have baseball 7:45 tonight, which is ridiculous. But okay. Oh, by the way, we got
practice or
we're under
Friday
the lights.
nights for sports. Oh, I know, yeah. Under the lights.
Yeah. And then we're tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at Hyde Park. Come watch the Jets
Saturday
take on
morning.
the Cyclones, where we will probably annihilate them. Here, like we just got a little piece out right there, but this looks like it wants to drop back in. Ramin, she's making dinner reservations. All right, we'll be starting a little later than that. Extend those rezos a bit. 43.75 up there, a little piece out. Looks like we're going to break lower. I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. MO the other way, but Tesla right now is Tank City as we get ready for the close.
All right, let's go on to Snapchat. Huge day still, actually 28% here for Snapchat on the day on a pullback even. So 100, what was it, 108 I saw out of the gate this morning, 108 times relative volume on Snapchat this morning as well. So nice beat for them.
Yeah, the revenue really came in aggressively here. 21% year-over-year increase in advertising revenue itself. Came in at $1.11 billion. That is a good look for them as they look to monetize their platform. The guidance also did a lot better. They're guiding $1.23 billion to $1.26. The street was looking for the lower end of that, $1.22. And you see what happened today, up well over 20%. Just want to mention quickly, their global daily active users grew about 2 million year-over-year on the quarter.
This part of the show brought to you by our friends over at Alfonso AI. Their adaptive AI predicts the best times to buy and sell stocks, helping you increase your odds for generating alpha. Join now, get 50% off their pro monthly subscription. Use the QR code or tradertv50, code tradertv50, get 50% off. Scan that QR code, download the app today.
Snapchat was actually good today, but you just had to wait for something to happen. Like, we thought it would fill the gap. Like, the plan was, like, maybe it tries to fill the gap and look for a dip buy, like a 13.5. I was interested to see when 14 would start holding, but then you really had to wait. Let's zoom it in. Like, look at the dance. At the open, it's just, it's over, it's under, it dips underneath, holds 13A, tries to get back above. There's just nothing happening showing you the strength, and it does it a couple times. Then you get this bottom. We waited for it to show the strength. We grabbed the long, scalped to each of the morning highs, and then held it into the actual open range top. Might pull back into VWAP. I think that could be a nice little long in there off VWAP this afternoon for a bit of a play, though the market, I think, could sell off overall. We'll see. But Snapchat, sometimes you've just got to be really patient. If you try to guess the bottom, you probably would have got it if you just went for that third time. But I love that VWAP hold. And the momentum is good on Snap. 7% or 8% short float. A consolidative day when you're up 27% cannot be considered a bad thing. When you go overextended like that, simply not filling in the gap is kind of bullish. And so when you get all that volume, as Brendan said, 100 million shares, and that's all transacted holding these highs, I would say that's a pretty good sign for Snapchat price action-wise, regardless of what you think about the report.
Like I like to talk about trades I don't have, but we have Tesla. And I mean, this is now $4 and pretty much at the bottom of the day right now. Like this could be just an area that we take and we ask questions later. So I'm probably going to do this, close this trade, make the $4 and just continue to look for something else. This is a big move down there for Tesla and we are pretty much at a bottom potentially. Let's put in a stop. My stop right now is at one. So here's, just for example, I'll tell you where my stop is because I'm canceling it. 172.20 is my stop on this. So that was 30 cents worth of stop for $4 right now. So we're pretty okay with that kind of relationship. So let's go 138.60, 168.50, and we'll probably get out of that. So that could be something, 168.50, and we'll cover this. That's going to be my new stop for what is going to be, I think, the multiple trades of the day. I mean, to be able to hit that numerous times and then try to hold something for that, I'm going to put that out there on, oops, I didn't cancel my other one. They're on Tesla. So, all right, let's go talk about Roku. But, man, we are really, really happy about that one. So props it up on Tesla.
Yeah, monster move downside here today for Roku. Got through that pre-market low, never looked back, trying to get to day lows right now. It was the forecast for this one. Otherwise, pretty decent numbers, I guess, for their earnings, but the forecast a problem.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned, the forecast was a little light, but the earnings were up a little bit. So in terms of revenue, they did grow a little bit here, 3.58% to print $850 million on the quarters. Their active accounts grew as well, 81.6 million. Analysts were looking for 81.43. Average revenue per user, ARPU, one of our favorite metrics around here, also grew, and streaming hours hit 30.8 billion. So we'll see, if they can continue this trend up.
I keep saying this. I mean, Kava again, day highs. Decent volume here as well for Kava, guys.
Yeah, look, Roku. It doesn't like we were saying with Snapchat. It doesn't necessarily matter what you think sometimes of the quarter. The price action tells the story, and it looked like one of those breakouts. This is the 63. It went to $70, and then you come in the next morning, and it's gap down. So it's obviously on the daily chart. It actually looks even worse, with that false breakout of support, of a resistance level, and then you're right back into testing those lows. So I think you trapped some longs in the aftermarket and head to the downside. I was shorted a bunch, and this would have been really, really good, but that last reload, and I didn't get back in. So, was looking for that kind of home run trade underneath the 57.5, and it didn't really pan out. We'll be positive on it because I was scalping out of it. That's the difference. Like the difference between this and Intel. The difference between this and Intel is I was more aggressive taking profits down there. Part of the reason is because 56 was the support level and it had gone SSR down there, so I was respecting that. But at the end of the day, I'll probably come in on Monday thinking bearish on this. And if 56 gets lost on this name and then 55 gets lost on Roku, it starts to get a little bit dicey. I even have this weird trend line drawn. I don't even know why, and now it looks really good all of a sudden for no reason. But Roku, I don't know. Like I think I'm going to be of the attitude that it's a short until proven otherwise after this day. But it did a little bit of an SSR bounce for a bit.
All right, congratulations, Y Brothers United in the chat there. Real trading, hashtag that one up for your in and out there of Tesla. So in, out, covered, long at 168.17. Good job right now, as that's exactly where Tesla's at. We just put on another trade here. It's going to be Meta one more time. So we were short Meta. We were talking about this until it eventually took that 442. Went up to 444. Don't have anything there right now, but yeah. I'm still watching out for this Tesla trade, but I do think this Meta can get going Watch out for 440 again bounce. We'll take a piece out if it gets down there, but for right now, we're just in the, I mean, we're not in the money really at all. 20, 25 cents. We're gonna have to get a little bit lower. 440 for me here on Meta. Let's see it go down. Let's go, let's go. Come on, Meta, it's an elevator and it's going downside. We'll see if we can get something down here for Meta. Maybe let's just take $1 if we can, get something out near 440.50, and then we'll see about playing this throughout again. Real see real, back over to the desk. No desk. Okay, so.
No desk.
Welcome back. All right, so thank you for.
No and then.
Thank you for that. No and then. Thank you. This is your alert. Oh, well, thank you, Y Brothers. Yeah. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, this is a position we just put on right now. You know, we could sit here and take 1, 2, 5 cents on something. It depends on your style of trade. On a meta stock, you guys, you know, we're able to scalp in and out. So $1 for me might be good. For some others, might not. But there it is right there. It's a dollar club. And guess what, guys? That took 3 minutes right there to start to do a little bit of this. Pretty impressive there, Neil, on Meta.
Yeah, Meta is a giver. Like, that's the thing. The difference between Meta and Microsoft is Meta actually moves the way you'd want a $400 stock to move. You know what I mean? Like, what's the best way to put it? Like, Microsoft, you probably had to wait the entire morning to get $2. Actually, it's not probably, it's actually true. There's a note on Boeing, Fitch. Boeing's a flat bottom break, but Fitch revises their outlook to negative, which is curious to me because that would suggest that Fitch didn't have, like they had a positive outlook on Boeing. Okay, I guess I haven't been paying attention. But Boeing, it's not really reacting just yet, but I like this top. You're starting to see it roll over. Can we come to the chart for a second? It's starting to see it roll over. 167.5 breaks. I think you could see VWAP, but it's a triple top on Boeing. So whether it's short to high or breaking down 167.5, it's a small catalyst, but this was already rolling back in with the market in any way, shape, or form you look at it. And it was resistance to support. If that breaks, I'm still relatively negative on Boeing. And to me, negative outlook, if that's going to be the catalyst, that's good enough for me. Oh, I wanted to, one last thing. We didn't really talk about Alibaba, but remember this morning there was a question about, hey, you looking for that dip buy in Baba at 75.50? And I said no, because 75 is the level we wanted on Alibaba. So eventually, Alibaba did get to 75. So we waited for it to get to 75. I'll zoom it in so you can see it again. This is the dip, 75.06. It made a higher low off of that level, so we're long here with a stop at the bottom, scalp to first level. I'm in here looking for VWAP because if it breaks this consolidation down, I'm just gonna get out. Either presses into VWAP and we're able to take, it's about 1% on it, but really it's there to VWAP, that's the trade. But if it breaks down, we're out. It's a Chinese ADR, so you know in the afternoon it's probably not gonna do much of anything. But some of the, kind of like a simple setup, right? Like it holds that 75, you get the higher low. It's like the Snapchat off VWAP. Like you wait for it to make one specific move that shows you the trend or the trend reversal, get in, and then hold it to that next level. But Boeing, it's been a good couple of days for Boeing. I will grant them that. But if it breaks this, which it's about to right now, I'm going to get on the offer underneath and look to get this down underneath VWAP. So Boeing, if the market goes red, I think these guys should have an easy time following suit.
All right. Okay, just looking around here, I had a couple possible ideas. So our Tesla came out, unfortunately. But the Meta is now $2 in the money and going lower. So yeah, we're doing pretty good here. I mean, I do wish that Tesla would have stayed in the pocket a little bit there, but it's okay. It's right where it is right now. If I did want to get it back again, we could get it back again. Like I've made a lot of trades today, probably over, I mean, I can tell you how many fills exactly today. About 200 fills, that's not exactly, about 200 fills today on only 4 names. Google, which looks like this today, just long early. You're gonna think I'm actually up on this stock. That last out right there, we had redone that, and then we tried a reload there and wound up losing about 30 cents, so we did give some back, and then it started to pop, but now Google's coming back in, debating a reload down here at 170 again now. So that's that trade. We, Meta was really good. I mean, boom, boom. Like that's like Neil just mentioned, that's $4 right there on Meta. So that's pretty good. Then we lost in here. You can see there is an out there, but a couple profitable trades there for Meta. Philip Morris, I actually forgot to mention this one. We mentioned that we were about to get stopped out, so I have to face slap that one because this is a bad one. We played it off news. The menthols, I guess, were not as sweet as described, all the way up to $43.92, and then first one's free, and then you got to pay, so that's a problem. And then Tesla, I mean, let's go. This is the hot dog cannon right here for easily day for me on Tesla. Just one stop out right there, and that sucked, but we're fine. We got back in there and hit it again, so I'm really, really comfortable now trading the style that I think we've come accustomed to here. So let's just keep doing that. We'll look for some potentially outsized moves right now. We're going to stay bearish, I'm thinking, with my thought, but at the same time, not afraid to go long if we can get back to 17.8. We really like 17.8 as a level. So I feel like we're going to go long 17.8s and short until we break 18,000. We're not anywhere near 18,000, so we're going to have to use 17.9 as our top right now. Let's just stay where we have. We've got this Meta trade, and we're pretty happy with it. We've given up this Tesla, which is going to probably be bad, but at least we've got Meta, $2 in the money. Everything's working out for us today.
Yeah, we're rolling over decently here. Boeing already gave one profit take. I was just looking something up for Sebastian here, asking, can we trade Xiaomi? Is it Xiaomi? Yeah, Xiaomi. And there is an OTC name, but I can tell you, unless there's another one on the OTC, this does absolutely no volume. We probably technically can execute on it, but I'm going to suggest you can't really trade this. I know it's been doing some good things. Maybe it's better for like an investment, but the volume is 143,000 on this OTC name. There's plenty of things that do volume on the OTC. This, unfortunately, does not look like one of them. I understand, like they've been doing, they have the car, which they've been boasting about. You know what they said at the car show?
What's that?
They were saying, and they were taking jabs at Apple, saying it was like 30 or 40% of their signups for their car were from iPhone users, trying to basically intimate that they're going to steal iPhone users over, which I think that has more to do with the fact that China's cracking down on Apple than it has anything to do with the car. But there's just too much competition for those cars. I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical. They said they have like 100,000 or something reservations for it, which, I mean, okay, fine. Maybe I'm being way too tinfoil hat. I was kind of like saying, I don't think so. I don't believe them. But anyways, you can't really trade it. Volume, if there's no volume, you can't make a trade. Boeing on the flat bottom break, it just broke 167.50. We got 48. We took some out 3/4. We just got some out in front of 167. VWAP's going to be right here, about 80 pennies in the money. So we risked about 15, 20 cents on that, depending on the slippage, and you're already seeing it work down. I am pretty bearish here because the difference between today and every other day where we've had a strong day in the market? It's 2:30. And you know what? We're not still running higher. Usually, the last few times we've been like this, the market's holding those highs. It's already starting to give it up, and it's a Friday, and you've had a pretty, I'd say, strong rally the last couple of sessions. I think that goes without saying. So I think you could see some, I wanted to zoom out there. I think you could see some profit taking, and it wouldn't take much. You get 50, 100 points, I think all the shorts are going to pay off here. So the flat bottom break on Boeing, Fitch said they don't like them anymore. And I think the market hasn't liked them for quite some time.
Yeah, Boeing's been in trouble for a minute.
Not that I'm happy about it.
All right, so I was actually, forget about Meta. It's bouncing around here. We may not, Meta may not continue lower. I thought it would have gone lower by now. The market's, hitting here. You can even see Bitcoin in the bottom right, breaking back down below 64,000 right now. So AMD, I'm really close to liking this short right here on a break of VWAP at 157. The only problem is we've only gone down as far as 60s and then bounced before, but that gives me a good enough profile to play it off this 50 period. So I think I'm going to try to go short now just a little bit here to sort of start the feeling. So there it is. We get the short right now against the 50 period. I want to watch out. That's the 200 up there at 158. But ultimately, we do have our eyes set on this kind of a high up here near 158.50. So we'll take another fill if we get near 158, and that's it. Try not to, Sean, get too aggressive here. We'll wait, see if we can get that, and then we'll put something on up here. Because as long as the market keeps going down, I'm pretty okay, even though NVIDIA and AMD are both really strong, and they're stronger than the market. We're going to try to pick on it. So let's just wait. NVIDIA also up here at 880 is great levels. We've now bounced off the 200 period moving average. Down to VWAP wouldn't surprise me, and then a bump. We can play the VWAP. You know what, actually, it hasn't been here at all today. So we're probably not even going to get there. But you got to look. You see, like when you get too extended, and I need that calculator here, like from that to there, whatever that percentage is, pull back.
Right.
Then that percentage, I think, got a little smaller there. Then it was huge there again, and then there's the pullback. So we could have one more move up into 880 and then a retracement back again. But that's not, I have no like proof that anything like that ever happens. That's just something.
I only like the dip buy on VWAP if it's actually been giving it to you and working. I feel like if you don't get it, and if you get the deep VWAP dip at the end, like by that point, if it hasn't happened till like 3:15,
Yeah, you're probably not going to get
yeah, you probably just need to be in the other direction. But I'm with you on that percent thing. Like it would be really cool to just very quickly draw that. Maybe that's a feature.
Trade ideas. I think you could get it from, there's probably a tool you can download.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna ask Michael Noss.
Oh yeah, no, they have, I'm sure they'd have it in trade.
Yeah, but I'm just going to ask him how to do
Yeah.
it, and then he'll tell me in an email. That's a value of having Michael Noss with us for trade ideas. I don't have to look it up for anything. I know it's in like IBKR. I've seen Sharif use it. Alibaba just came out for me, so I said I was going to trail it. You can see the sideways action off that bounce play at 75. It just went sideways 75, 70, and then tried to break this bottom in. So I don't want this getting all the way to the low or doing absolutely nothing, so we back away from Alibaba. There was only one play for me, because you had to wait for 75 even. Like it just didn't do the pattern that it did before, where there's the immediate dip and rip at the open. So you had to wait all the way for it to get into the afternoon resistance level to 75. Boeing, which is the only new position we put on, that one is probably going to get to VWAP here. Yeah, it's working down into VWAP. It also has a chance to go red. I think this is a hold through VWAP. So you had a flat bottom break. I think 166 and in front of support is going to be a hold for me on Boeing, the newest one. Yeah, the NASDAQ, ES, both coming back in there. Let us know what you guys are looking at, because I'd love to see if there's something doing some outsized moves that you might sink our teeth into. I know GameStop was making some power moves earlier, but it looks like that came back to reality real quick, as it tends to.
GameStop, yeah. Oh man, I'm still like, look. Ooh, the menthol rule will take more time.
Oh, that's why.
That was Altria, not Philip Morris. They had that spinoff, so I always call it that. All right, so Tesla. I mean, we got out $1 ago. Whatever. I mean, we're happy to ride this right there. It's going to be my PL1, and I'm fine with doing that. But yeah, we definitely marked down 172. We keep saying that we want to hold more shares for these kind of moves, but I thought we did pretty good getting it right back into the day's low. But I guess if we're really talking the day's low, we're at it right now. All right, so we went short AMD. It's not really doing anything as this Tesla goes down, and AMD just kind of wicks to the high there, 70s. I was at 80s. I was at 85 to get more shares, and nothing came through. So let's take a bid if we get a 157 down there for AMD. I don't have any bids there right now. So down to 157, like 10. We'll put a bid there and see if we can get it ahead of VWAP, and then hopefully that'll break, and then we'll consider pushing that short into VWAP. Like once it breaks, we'll see what the reaction is. If it comes back and touches it again, then we'll fade it back down. That is that. Meta's not really doing too much. Did Philip Morris do anything on that recent one? No, it did not. And remember, this is where we set our stop. So it's not like rocket science, even when there's news breaking. So I put it upside. I had no idea. We put it right at the dollar. We take that 25 cents there, and then we lose 25 cents there. But the problem was we lost on 80% or 75%, and that was only one piece out, and then 3/4 out right there. So or 80% out. So it was bad trade on news, and that's why we had it. So that was that trade. Meta's come back upside now, right into the 50 period. This name is not really reacting as well. I feel like we have enough willpower, to get out at 442. So that's what we're going to do. If it breaks higher, we're going to get out of this one at 442. So average in just one more time in and around like 441.50, and then we'll use 442 as our out there for Meta. It doesn't look as good as I'd hoped, and maybe a Tesla long, but I'm not. I see people in the chat, or someone named None in the chat. Now, I'm going to stay away from the Tesla long. We wrote down here on the sticky note that we wanted 170 and 172. Came in, we got it. I don't want to throw money away, especially if this thing keeps tanking. I'm going to hold on to my thought here. I have no longs at all today in Tesla. The purples are shorts. So we don't have any longs. Just wish we had held the short. Snap is dropping.
Can't ever hold to oblivion. Snap's almost at VWAP, and like we were just talking about VWAP plays too.
Okay.
And I was talking about not necessarily buying dips into VWAP because I feel like today is weaker than the other afternoons. It really does, but the market's starting to bounce in here. Let's go for consolidation instead of just catching the falling knife. If it consolidates off VWAP and shows more strength, then we'll go for it. Because, like the first thing I put on was Boeing, and I like that one to the south side. The market's still, I think, in the midst of a bit of a pullback. Here's a question. Because if you look at Meta, just the pattern of Meta, I know we always talk about let things settle down. But let's make a devil's advocate. Meta doesn't move from here. It holds 440, let's just say. Then you essentially have that big dip. It doesn't quite get to 400, but it's a big relief rally, a almost clear higher low again today. Like dip at the open, which still puts another higher low with a similar top at the 450 level. It's feeling like this could be a 450 break on Monday morning. Obviously, you have some earnings to go through next week, which I think could be a bit of a story. But that is one heck of a gap. And we just saw what NVIDIA did when you didn't think it could. So if Meta holds on to VWAP here, I don't wonder if this is going to be a setup for a potential breakout. Speaking of NVIDIA, yeah, we talked about this in the lesson today. I was long like 3 times, and they all stunk because we didn't really hold on to it. But it was the execution plan more than anything. And if NVIDIA is putting in a lower high, I don't want to buy dips. I'm just going to stick with the short positions. We're in 2. We only put on 1 short, and it went pretty much instantly in the money. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm actually looking at Rivian right now at the $9 level, and that hasn't had a green candle on the 15-minute in an hour. And I'm thinking this could be a short opportunity, slowly grinding down. So you got the $9 even level that it ticked to. Exactly. What's up, Randy?
Tesla is, yeah, what's up, Randy?
It's up today.
I don't know what's going on with Tesla, but we got out at 168.50. It's at 167. This is your trade of the day. Shorting 172 about 100 times, only to watch this happen, which is great. A good trade is a good trade at the end of the day. I thought that was a good level. We put a stop in. We should have just respected the 50-period moving average, which is right now at 168.50. Wow. What a move here for Tesla. Still going lower. Remember, we just talked about this. I was asked, should we go short on Tesla or should we go long on Tesla? No. So that's what it is, man. That's exactly what we're doing now, watching this name just continue to go downside off of, a note that we wrote at 8 o'clock. So sticky note going to the downside, so is Tesla. And here we go, man. Possible level of interest there, 163. We could almost short it against 167 again if we want to try that, 166.60. You would always like a pull-up here to get that short. 160, oh, wow. All right, now we were really starting to get extended here a little bit to the downside for this name. All right, Tesla, it's there. We've got AMD short, you know that. It's too bad that this name's not really reacting to much, but we're short rate in here in this clutter. We were at 80, so we don't have that wick higher. We can get a little bit more short here at 60s or 70s if it does come back up there, but we are still waiting for a print in the teens as we talked about that. Man, it would look and feel so good if we had that Tesla still on board. But we just shorted Meta up here at 441. We're going to give this back to 442 with more shares coming if we get back up here. But for right now, let's just short it again off the 50 period. Look, we shorted that at 440.80. It went all the way down to 440. So that was an 80-cent winner. Let's see if it comes back in right now and potentially take another bid low side. But if Tesla's going to go and this market wants to go with it, we're double short. We're short. Like, we've got the barreled short, man. We're short Tesla. We got AMD there. We're short Meta right now on the reload. So here we go, man. You're now trading with the best of us, and that's what we're doing. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe, which is on this page right there. And if you don't do it,
Like, subscribe, and share the show that takes you into the heart of the
yeah,
market.
that's okay.
I was already reaching for it.
Yeah, that's okay. Travolta's like, guys, just hit the like, hit the subscribe. Let's go. I mean, we're showing you these trades, so hopefully you're doing
got
that.
it.
There you go, none. Yeah, you did not go long on Tesla, so there you go. My opinion, but glad it worked out. Sometimes it doesn't.
Well, I mean, when you're trending like that, I think sometimes, if you're catching a falling knife, the level should just be gold. Like, it should be something that you're like, oh, I've been looking for this level for quite some time, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because it's falling way too fast, and sometimes it's not worth it, especially in the afternoon. If you love the level, you love the level. You do you. Apple just turned. Well, I mean, Apple's been red for a little bit, but if the market's rolling over, weak stock alert that might not see VWAP, you're underneath the 170 again. So I like this off of the 170, but if it can't even break past this level of acceleration, I'm looking to take a snag here in Apple. Like, if you think it's a short, how about weak names? Name underneath VWAP, name trending down to lower highs. It just put a wick top on another lower high here. So, I mean, I don't think I'll have a new position. I just took Rivian, we'll give it to $9. I'm not going to put a new position on in Intel, and I don't think I'll put a new position on in ARM. Like, Intel's going sideways. I am now trailing it to 31.85. If it breaks higher, that's still trend up holding VWAP. Either it breaks VWAP, maybe I'll even get it out at 31.50 if it gets to VWAP. So I'm not really seeing that as a re-entry trade. So I'm looking for something that's weaker than this. I want a weaker name. I know Intel's down 10%, but that doesn't really tell you the full story. Because unless you were sitting in it at the open, it's actually been trend up since then. So I'm going to like Apple a little bit better. Like, Apple is trending to the downside. It gives you a chance at a lower high. So we're not back into it. Although the last time we've traded this last few times have been shorts. But we're in it for the first time today.
All right, just for entertainment purposes. All right, we went short AMD. There's 30 cents. It is another one right there. We just take it out at VWAP, so there it goes, boom, to the downside right now. Let's see if Meta will give us yet again another one and go to the downside. We will take a 440 fill here just because I'm pretty exhausted here getting into the end of the week. So let's just do things right, take the right fills, and just make sure that we've got the right amount of shares at the right levels and don't get overfilled, and just do things the right way, because that's, if you do the right processes over and over again, then it will be good. So Meta, we're back on the bid here at 440, so that's good. Hopefully that fills. AMD's bouncing a little bit. Tesla continues to be what it is, waiting around here. So we'll wait for that one to go. Anything else? I mean, Apple, you mentioned, SMH. We can have a quick look at that for the chip names. 217. I mean, we're in AMD. I have favored SMH often as a trading vehicle, but wow, okay, right back to 220. If you think the NASDAQ, you're a little bit missed out on some of these NASDAQ moves, a fade back up here to 220, if there's something you want to go short on ahead of, more earnings from AMD coming through, and then at the end of the month with NVIDIA, again, you might not want to trade the stock symbol because anything can happen. The problem with trading NVIDIA on earnings is you could have like a $100 or $200 range, and you get sort of chopped up in between. At least SMH probably would go up to like 230 and then whatever, hang out a little bit. But anyways, SMH is another one of those things. It's not really at any levels right now. Okay. Oh, well, there it is.
What about DraftKings?
Yeah, so Meta, put that on the board, props that up another 80 cents. We're just stockpiling. This is more appropriate to what we're doing right now for the day. So if we got out of these trades, we would be close to our high of the day. So far, so good here. We did lose on Altria, so that's why we're not exactly at the high of our day.
I still, they should just change the ticker, because I never call it Altria, and I kind of refuse to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Someone just asked about DraftKings. Great day for DraftKings, no question about it. And it's resisting a little bit what this market is doing, which is pulling back in here. The only problem with DraftKings is if you look at the actual daily chart, I think it's running into some resistance here, so careful at these highs. I don't think it's a short up there if it gets to 43.50. As I said, I'd rather be working into things that are a little bit weaker, hence Boeing, and then getting into Apple, which is starting to come into the 170 level. So here comes the 170. We'll give it a curl there. If it bounces off 170, I do not want more of these shares unless it's on the way down. So we got one curl, and then there's a 170 level. If it does another, then I get in. Otherwise, we're going to get out above 70 and wait for VWAP. Boeing is chilling. Boeing's actually bouncing in front of VWAP here, so there's a flat bottom break. But I like the consolidation lower. So I think I'll just hang with this one. We scalped some out, and if it breaks past that 167.50, we'll get out. Otherwise, looking for a breakdown. And if we crush VWAP, I'll move a trail down into here on Boeing. So kind of just an adjustment on the strategy there for Boeing. And ooh, NVIDIA's about to give it up, double bottom. Yeah, if NVIDIA's going down, what are the other chip names doing? We're in Intel, ARM's kind of chilling in the money. You're already in AMD.
Yeah, AMD's going up, actually, to be honest with you.
Really? Yeah, because look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA just looks like it's about to give that push down into VWAP any second now, which is another reason why I don't want to be in any longs at this point. We'll see. I mean, DraftKings is a strong one. I just don't want to be buying any tops. I kind of feel like this afternoon's a little bit different from the others. But hey, we've been wrong about it before, and I don't want to break any rules here and not adhere to those stop levels. I'm going to check back in on my stop for Intel because, yeah, if it's not moving when NVIDIA goes down, I'm just going to get out at VWAP. Forget about the home run. It's SSR. Obviously, it's not good. Even I think the quarter is, bad, putrid, whatever the exclamation you want to give. Like the stock was already from 50 into 30, so there's probably a limit to how much selling was going to happen on that quarter anyways on the first day. And if it's going to hold VWAP like this when everything comes down, then I'm just going to get out the next time it gets there. So I guess there's a bit of exhaustion in the selling in this stock, and you'll have to come back to it next week and maybe look for a little bit more of the same.
Okay, yeah. If there's any other stocks you guys want to talk about. Oh, I want to say this right here was to Amanda. Was it Amanda? Yeah, Paula, sorry. Paula here. So AMD broke VWAP. So remember what the trade we were going to do is. So now the trade's loaded. So what we're going to do is we wanted to see it break and hold below. It didn't hold below. It broke and came immediately back. So now the next time it breaks, we're going to go short because we're seeing that it's giving us our out now. So our out, if we're wrong, could sort of be in and around 157.30 or so right here. So if it cracks lower, we're now going to take enough shares that we can, try to take or withstand about a 30 to 40 cent hit, giving us, here, maybe zoom in, giving us this top a little bit right there. So that's the kind of trade that I'm going to do. I'm going to wait for it to break that next time. So if you're in it now, it's fine. It's just, it's rejected the VWAP break. That's the whole point. That's why we got some out, and then it came in, and normally not normally would smash this, but VWAP is not always an instant, and we talk about this. It's a point of interest for me. It's just, this is a reference spot to where sometimes you go 200 to VWAP or VWAP to 200, depending which way you're going with the stock. So for this one, we went 50 to VWAP, and now we're going to wait to see if it breaks it. And we can actually add a couple more shares onto this because I don't mind that break the more I talk about it. So yeah, we'll do that and get it all. I'm going to actually cancel my current stop and put some more shares on there to go punch more short if we get into this level right there. So I'm going to take the short on the way back in and use something like 25s, 30s, or maybe where the 50 period is as our out on the way back down. So 60 cents in the money for Meta, 30 cents for AMD, and looking for that trade as Tesla, the trade that we got out $2 ago, continues to go lower.
Yeah, Tesla's getting ugly, man. I was joking wasn't the other day, it was actually probably literally yesterday, because I had a dip buy sitting for a while at 151. I was like, man, I can't believe we're at 70. Maybe I should just take it out, but then don't treat it that way when it's your long term. But it probably would have been a good idea because I bet you I'll get that 150 again if I wanted it. Boeing's starting to bounce a little bit here. So Apple did curl back in. That's now at I'm short 80. It's at 80, so that's exciting. But yeah, Boeing's trying to make that push back into 167.5. Remember, my stop went from here to the breakdown point, which was 167.5, and I want to see if it can break VWAP. Like, Boeing doesn't have any business holding VWAP as far as I'm concerned if the market comes to the downside, especially on a failed breakout. What else are you guys looking at here? Nothing's really changed. Oh, Ponzi, you're talking about Amazon in 180? Oh my goodness. So Amazon and the 180 level, Like, look at how gorgeous the curl was here. Amazon, we marked off that 180. It broke, tried to break 181, comes back under the lower high right at that 180, and then flush back under. But I wasn't really paying, like, Amazon wasn't going to be the one for me today. I just felt it was going to be Google. I knew it was going to be Intel. I knew it was going to be NVIDIA. And so we stuck to those for sure. I ended up in ARM because it came to that great level that we liked the other day, but everything else was just sort of staying in the pocket. But that Amazon 180 has proven to be a little bit too much. Though if they do half of what Google did, it's not going to matter next week.
Amazon's going to be a monster. On the market recap show, we talked about this, and I said, CMG, this is before earnings. It's going to take 3,000, and it's going to be see you later. It's at $3,200 right now. What a move for CMG. Just monstrous. This was earnings. We were right on the earnings call. Even before the earnings came out, I was like, this is going to go up. It's a perfect top break. Plus, they got news of the split coming in July. So we already knew that was going to happen. But, of course, they were going to have good earnings. Boom to the upside. We know the retail is still so strong for CMG. I mean, they just keep on outperforming themselves all the way. I mean, what a name from January. $2,200 adds $1,000 to the name. So, you know, 220 to 310, something like that. You know, you take away those zeros.
Right.
So that's all right. So it's a good little move there for CMG. Kind of like the same as usual, but just another thing there. Apple was the... What? Some highlights, some news that
Yeah, there was.
I just heard. There's something about a car.
I don't know. Like I didn't quite catch it. That's what I heard too. I had a trailing stop in here off of this level, which was 31.85. So it just trailed me out. But the car doesn't make it. Whatever. We'll see if that actually hits the wire. I didn't catch that entire thing, but there was a little bit of a volume spike. It's not big. You guys can see here. Like, it's a decent volume spike, but not much. But I'm trailing out of it regardless. I don't see myself reloading Intel at this particular point. We shorted the pre-market highs, or sorry, the opening range tops, and that was the one that ended up working for us. And now you're seeing a trend into the upside. Apple did give me that entry off the 170. It came right back in for a lower high, so I took some out there. We want the 50s nets, not the 60s, so I'm just going to quickly move that. See, that was a bit of a mistake. We wanted to bid down in here in front of 50, and if we see the low of the day, I think that'll be great for Apple. Boeing is working its way back up. We did take a couple of legs out of this, so if we put the lower high in, that's fine. Just a flat bottom break, one of those setups that you like. We always talk about trading setups that you like. And what I love about a flat bottom break is you don't have to be a chartered market technician. It's kind of an obvious setup. And it just, whether or not it's a big consolidative level, but I want something with confluence. There's 167.5 for resistance. There it is for support. There's a consolidation. There was a little note from Fitch that was a little bit negative. I'm like, okay, we'll break down and they can go into VWAP. And on top of that, I was a bit bearish on the market as well. So you throw that in there. Maybe it gets to VWAP or not, but it can't turn into a loser at this point. So a decent stop out. It was wasn't a heck of a lot of risk on that trade, and if it follows through, great. Let's go to Adair at the desk.
Seeing some reports here that there is some investment interest here in Intel's JV chip from Apollo, KKR, and Stone Peak. They're considering investing. We did get one of the larger volume pops we had in a while on the previous 3-minute candle on that report. Waiting to see if I see anything else. I'll let you guys know.
Thank you very much there. So, I mean, I had a trailing stop on it anyways, but good to know that you do want to get out. It is SSR, short sell restricted Intel, so you can expect that on a day like today, if it does get some juice behind it, you can't hit the bid to go short unless the last print was green. So that's the uptick rule, which I hate the uptick rule, but you know, I was trading back in the day when the uptick rule existed on every single NASDAQ stock at all times. And it was not a lot of fun. Because it meant if something was trending down, getting into position short was a little bit of trouble. So if this, remember, this could be like a squeeze type play. The only place I'd look for it again is like 32 quarter, 32 and a half, maybe up at that top for a potential short trade. USD, is that really going ham there, Bonkzilla? US dollars going nuts? We have USD JPY, but the market is bouncing up here, so it's going to be time to take some profits if we get a chance. Again, on those shorts, I might reload Apple, But I also want this market to calm down a little bit too, because you're right back into that 180. Sorry, 170. We're not at 180. That 170 where we just got to reload, and it came back in, gave us like the 25-cent win, and we're right back at that 170 level as the market is catching a bid off those lows. So yeah, I bet you that Snapchat was a good long, but I was feeling bearish, so I wasn't going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good out there for Meta as well as we're coming all the way back up. I'm wondering if we just throw in the towel here. Like I said, we are going to be pretty close to, being back to where we were at the highs for ourselves there today. But I'm going to try to, I should have just reloaded that there on AMD. Let's just try, where are we short there? 43s. I don't know, let me see it. Maybe it's going to be more fun to trade NVIDIA here into the close. And, trading doesn't have to be fun. Some of the best trades are the boring ones. 878. I mean, I don't know. Do we really want to go short something that's up 6%? I don't think so. We should probably be going long. So those dip buys into 870 were great. Like, can you believe like $7, like immediately, boom, straight to the upside? Let's look at the market. How about that? Because if we can look at the market quickly here and get a good idea. So above, I guess it's because we're waiting to see if we can get down to 17.8, but right now you're still stuck in the middle, 17.9. 17,680 into a Friday. The last hour of power is upon us right now. So I wonder if we're not going to be doing much. Let's see a little bit of a longer time frame. So there's the top that we would definitely short if we got going here in the afternoon, 17,950. So right now that is 80 handles higher. That's where we should be starting the short if we're going to do anything against a potential move higher. And then the long, we've already talked about that we would like the 17.8 right there to come through to start to go long. So right now we're just kind of stuck in the middle and then debating, looking at it. And we said it would be a stock pickers on the sticky note today. We said this feels like a stock pickers day, meaning that, if you picked a name like a Microsoft, it might be a little slower. You pick names like Tesla, we have some tops where you could go short. Google names to go long, which maybe that's what we should do.
Yeah, what's Google doing?
Yeah, I mean, went right into the bottom of the day again, pretty much. I mean, it didn't break that 170 just now, like what happened to us there, but it came pretty much right into where we were buying all morning.
Now it holds.
We're still up on Google today, so it's okay. We will be down on on Altria. I won't say it again. So yeah, Google, again, maybe dip buying that one as an opportunity. And then how about just going into something that's moving around potentially now, which it's not, would have been Intel, I was thinking, on some of that news, but that's not moving at all. And we will wait to potentially get more AMD if it comes into 157.60. So
Yeah, it was a spike without continuation in that Intel move. Like, it was, I don't know, it broke the level it was at and then trailed me out, and then it didn't do anything after that. But I'm going to stay away from it. As I said, like, I was way too, aggressive trying to hold too much of the short instead of scalping it out, which isn't usually how I play it. But then, I've been pretty bearish on it, so I really wanted that one to head to the downside. Boeing, we did get it back into VWAP, so it ends up being 167.5 into 167, and then we just take break even out. Now, when it made that first leg in, I'm going to move my stop so that it doesn't turn into a losing trade, so that's the only adjustment. We made Rivian's at 95. I'm short at 93, so that's not really doing a heck of a lot. That's Snapchat. Oh, you Snapchat. Oh, yeah, you're in New York. Snapchat, there is a good bounce off VWAP, and this is, that's actually almost like a perfect bounce off VWAP. Like, look at the wick underneath, and then immediately comes back in where you'd want to take that fill at 35. You already scalp it to 50, but I feel like if you didn't get it the first time, I don't want to go into it on the second time through, because that's putting in lower highs. So I'm going to stay away from you. NVIDIA just curled off 875. So I don't mind getting trailed out of Boeing, but it doesn't mean I'm looking for longs. Just got the 70s on Apple. That's starting to come back in there. But you're seeing, like, every single time it got to the 70 level, and I'm not taking any fills past 70. That's the line in the sand. I think Apple is still weak, but if it breaks this 70 at 70.05, I think I'm sitting at, or 6, then I'm getting out and waiting for VWAP. Because if it gets to VWAP, you need to give it like 10 cents at that price alone. So I don't want to carry it all the way into that. I do have a trail on ARM. It's not really going anywhere. That's a trade from this morning. If I take a new position, I'll let you guys know. But we want to deal with the new things that we're doing here.
Meta about to tank, says Chris. I hope so. I don't think it is. But I just put an offer here to get some more short into this area. But I'm still waiting for up here again, 441.80s to get short against 442, a little bit higher than that. We just tried, you know, we could take a piece here because I might just punch in. See the spread, the problem with the spread here is that it's quite large. Like I can cross this spread and not even get filled. Like I just tried to punch in there and missed it. So there, now we'll get filled on the way back up. So, all right, we'll take a fill now on Meta. And that's what you have to do. You have to sit there and take the fills most of the time against you if you're going to be adding liquidity. So Neil and I have an opportunity to both remove or add liquidity. And if we sit there and post a bid.
SSR?
Meta?
Because it's 2 days.
Yeah, but you could. That just means you can't hit the
You can't hit
ask. You could still close the gap.
Yeah, you can still close the gap.
Can't hit the bid. Sorry. But yeah. So long story short is you have an opportunity. Like if you want to sell right now, like for right now, I'm waiting at 441.80. So when that comes up and fills me, I will actually get a rebate of roughly $2 per 1,000 shares that you trade with. So if you're trading 100 shares, it won't cost anything other than, this is for an execution fee, for a rebate, sorry, from the gateway fee, will be a $2 per 1,000 shares. So 100 shares, you'd get 20 cents. Now there's SEC fees, clearing fees, so on and so forth, that go on top of that. And so there's the fill we just got. So now we're short right here against, so 441.60. The market's trying to go for sure. We like this level. It's come all the way back up. I think this is worth a shot. So we just took a 441.80 fill there. Our average price is 441.60 or 441.56. So let's see what happens now. We're short on Meta.
Good look there. I think, you know, as we said, like you got to give something that has an opportunity to go. So Micron's breaking the high of the day without NVIDIA doing anything. So I don't wonder if this isn't going to be the strong one. For whatever reason, you know, obviously Intel had a rough day. This is the only chip name I can see that is trading at those highs. So if you're looking for relative strength, I just want to shout out, you know, in the chat, what was like, yeah, let us know what you guys are trading or what you're looking at. So I wouldn't have even known about this unless JP Swade in the chat had let us know about Micron here. So 114 looks good. I also don't mind this 114.5. You had a triple top that it's trying to break out, and that third crest was just above the 114.5. Probably going to run into some resistance, but if the market stays strong and we do take out highs, I think you got something to work on into with Micron. I just want to double check. I know you're in AMD.
I might just get out of AMD. I don't want to get suckered into this.
Well, I don't know, but like you're making a break at the top on Micron. And NVIDIA's putting in lower highs, but AMD's already at VWAP. Like it's weak. I know it's up 2%.
Right.
But like right now, this afternoon, this thing is weak. I was about to say like, why not?
I mean, we're 40 cents in the money. It's just I don't. The market's not.
I mean, the market's not doing much. That's sort of the problem. It's like I could talk myself into this, stepping down all I want, but unless it gives you a fill at the top of the range or breaks down at 157.
I'm actually feeling kind of long now.
Nothing happens. Well, I was looking for Micron because I wanted something that we might like to the long side. Snapchats.
Yeah. I don't want to get too much more involved with this Meta trade.
What else is strong here? I know Snapchat, we already talked about it. IB.
Like Meta went into the money, like honestly, like 20 cents, and I was like, maybe I'll just take this. So I just think that the market, it already made these lows here. I hope we go back to test it. That's what I'm betting on. But I don't know if those are the right odds. Like if you could put some odds down right now, I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Almost feels like with good reports from both Microsoft and Google, this market probably wants to break this top. We just tested it and failed it. We came all the way back. Like, look at these two wicks. That's 75 down to 55, 20 handles in 2 minutes, up and down. And now you can see we're dancing here. It's trying to figure out which way it wants to go. Can't close above the last two candles, can't close below the last two candles. So the last 3 or 4 minutes have just been decisive periods where the market can't figure it out. And we've already had someone bet long, they lost, someone bet short and lost, and right now it looks like the longs are going to try to win one more time here. Meta looks like it wants to break. This was the nervous position, so a little bit higher than, yep, there it is, a little bit higher than where we are now, and we're in a problem spot. Maybe we should get out of our AMD. What's up, Adara?
Show brought to you by Kalshi. Have you ever wanted to trade on events that directly relate to companies and the economy? Kalshi is the first legal financial exchange in the US where you can bet on any event. Ever wondered if TikTok will be banned, how many cars Tesla will ship this quarter, or what a new movie's Rotten Tomatoes score will be? Now you can use Kalshi to put your predictions to the test and trade on what you really know. Visit kalshi.com/tradertv to sign up today and grab a $20 bonus after depositing $50 exclusively for the first 500 people using promo code TraderTV. It's easy to get started. Choose an event, like whether Boeing will have a new CEO this year, currently priced at 76%. Buy 100 shares at 76 cents each, and if Boeing announces a new CEO by the end of the year, you cash out $100 on your $76 bet. Don't just watch the news, profit from it. Join Kalshi's 100,000 users and dive into diverse markets, make your moves, and potentially profit from global events. Kalshi.com/TraderTV. I also want to take a moment here too to kind of rewind and look at what we've done with in terms of the macroeconomic sector, the macroeconomic side this week ahead of the FOMC meeting coming next Wednesday. So we did get some core PCE info today. For the month-over-month coming in pretty flat compared to expectations and the previous, but slightly higher than expected for core PCE year over year for March, 2.8% versus 2.6 expected, though it was in line with the prior, so we didn't go up there for core PCE. We also had that GDP data coming in yesterday, lower than expected, taking the market to the downside immediately after that 1.6% versus 2.5% expected. We also had some comments yesterday from U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen. We did have a blackout period for Fed speak, so that was really the only insight we got with regards to what the Fed might be thinking heading into the next meeting. Yesterday, Yellen basically said that the GDP did show some strength in consumer and investment spending and that there could be revisions to the data, but saying that overall it looks like we're on a downward path for inflation. So some interesting comments coming out of there. We'll have to wait and see what the Fed does next week, but definitely lots of data moving in lots of different directions here. The DXY making a move to the upside, at least to end off this week ahead of next week's big number coming, guys.
So I was bearish. Boeing was good. Apple was not. We just got out of Apple. We took some scalp trades out of there, so it ends up being like a smaller loss than it could have been, but that's only because we were taking some scalp trades out. But Matt Carnes, what does it mean when a 45K lot on level 2 ask side gets chewed through? Well, it means someone really wanted to buy whatever it is, assuming that 45,000 shares means something. Like you could be talking about a penny stock where 45,000 shares is meaningless, or you could be talking about Tesla where 45,000 shares on the offer that gets filled would be pretty significant. It just means someone's aggressively buying, but it's all things being relative, right? 45,000 shares on a $200 stock is not the same as, obviously, on a $5 stock, for example. But again, it doesn't necessarily mean anything in a vacuum.
No, we just went short there. Tesla at 168 is now 60 cents in the money. We did get stopped out, unfortunately, of our meta trade, and we kind of were sniffing that one out, man. We talked about going short ahead of 442, then getting out if it broke. We got out at 442.20, whatever that last little breaking spot was right there. Now it's screaming to the long side. I think Meta is going to be one of those names you're just going to have to watch out for. I was saying that I thought this market could go to the upside here, but still not convinced that we're necessarily going anywhere. It's that 17.9 area. But again, we just went to that top wick and came back again right now. So we do have some bids down here at 167 flat for Tesla to try to take that dollar and then try to hold the rest of it. AMD still looking to take that bottom, I think. You know, so that's going to be a trade there for us. I want to see Nike right here quickly. That was a little, I think that was moving around a bit here. $94, that's a little low. Yeah, okay, so down today. Surprising. Yeah, 95 straight to the downside there for Nike, down to $94. This is an interesting name. I do want to talk a little bit about Eli Lilly. We'll be discussing this on the podcast as well. That should be exciting. Eli Lilly reporting next week. I'm not going to make a trade on this name right now, but I do have some thoughts for this, reporting April 30th in the pre-market. So next week, Eli Lilly, you know, the street has price targets of this thing in the 800s. It was a good quarter last quarter, good guide moving forward. Eli Lilly down at a nice resistance spot here, support spot. I have some stuff to talk about that. Tesla right now just came in and we almost got that fill at O's there. It just wicked down to 25s. So we're trying to play off 167 right here. So if we get like a little 20-cent drop, come on, Tesla, come back in. We just put this trade on right now. So here we go. This is going to be a good move to the downside. Bears versus Bulls.
Heyo.
You gifted 10 memberships?
Looks like it.
Okay, well, thank you to Bears versus Bulls. We appreciate that one. Thank you for doing that. So that's very nice of you to do that. Cheers to that. And thank you, our good friend
Well done.
and the moderator of the chat. Here we go. Hit the sirens. Tesla's coming into our level, but we just got missed. So let's put our bid a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Like, go to the weakest name. I mean, that's the
Boom.
weakest name right now in the market. From a momentum standpoint, like, it's not about the percentage. We always talk about this. It's not about the percentage that it's moved on the day. It's about where it happens to be in terms of the afternoon sentiment. I was just looking at Meta if it was going to get up to that 444 change price, which that level, 444, was a pretty harsh turnaround. So that would be the significant one to look for a fade. Like, we're not quite at the highs on the futures yet. So I said I would wait until we got to VWAP. I'm going to go back over to Boeing. That's one that did work. It just put in a lower high. I might take a shot at that since that news, but it came right back in there. Don't know if that's going to be the one. You just got to be patient with it as far as I'm concerned. Micron, if we're going to break these tops, that's still looking pretty solidly. That's a pretty strong stock. You got higher lows all the way through. So this could be one. If it's going to make that break of the high of the day, I can't really see anything else I like other than Micron and Snapchat for potential longs. That's just held VWAP again. So if we get, there's your wick under VWAP, there's your higher low. The last time it did this, we had a similar setup and we waited for it to break that top. That would be like 51s or 52. So if it gets back above there, at least we know Snapchat's a strong stock, which is showing us a nice little dip buy and a consolidation. I mean, it's up 27%. I don't need to tell anybody that that's a strong stock. If it gets to 1451, we'll probably grab a 52 long there and see if it can even just get halfway to the high. At that point would be pretty solid on Snapchat. That's the only thing. I mean, I don't want anything long that isn't already a bit of a beast. So we're going to look for some short entries. Got to wait for VWAP on Apple. It's not quite there just yet.
Yeah, it's not just picking, for me, it wasn't just picking on weak stocks. I mean, obviously Tesla is weak today into a very, very strong market. And we had identified that we wanted the Tesla short all day. So we just went back over to our strongest P&L name of the day, a name that we've read pretty well. So that short right there on that move up, it does go a little bit. That wasn't against us. That was the move higher. And then we shorted it on the way back through 168. So that was the push back down in. And then there's the 80 cents or whatever, first out 50 cents against that top wick. So I guess we probably would have got stopped out at 168.50. So that's going to be a level there that we took off that short and then short again right now. We did just wind up losing on Meta though. And it's kind of hovering around here. So this is making me think again to look at this short because a name that's weaker than the market and one that was hit pretty strongly yesterday trying to get around this 442.50. So you have to sort of think, is this worth 30 cents worth of risk right now to potentially have quite a big win? So I think it probably is. So we'll try it one more time, 442.61. And again, this kind of trading is like, you could take shots and shots and shots. At some point you stop and it's like, you don't just keep on going short, but like we just talked about it, and there it is. That's almost $1 right there instantly. But as long as you can see the trades, oh no, wow, okay. I mean, that was a good move down. We were just talking about shorting that 440. It was just 442.20, remember? And I was like, oh, that's worth 30 cents worth of risk. There's $1, so there you go. 30 cents worth of risk for 100 cents. So we don't have it on, but that's the kind of trade that we're going to be looking for here. I still think the AMD break is still in play to the bottom. Now we can use this 50 period for sure. We did break it one time, and if we break it again, then we're going to get stopped out, and that'd be fine by me. Let's try to play the momentum to the downside on an AMD break, and that's going to coincide, of course, with NVIDIA that is here at 873 and looking to hold potentially that 870 level. So NVIDIA's not doing anything. I'm more excited to look at because it's a VWAP break of AMD. We have a long way to go for NVIDIA. 25 cents in the money here, $1 almost in the money on Tesla. And, if there's anything in the chat you guys want to...
He's
ripping?
Well, it's not. No.
It's
Actually,
10.
I would make an argument that it's like dropping like it's hot and then slight bounce, drop it like it's hot, slight bounce. If you were to follow that pattern, then I think you know what would be next on DJT. Like that, it really gave it up. It's a VWAP bounce, but look at this double top here. It's not really a double top. It's a double lower high, as you're seeing double of me, at this 43.25. And we've seen this story before. And when it starts to fall, like look on a 15-minute chart, this is probably a better example of what I mean by it looks a little bit bearish on the 15-minute. If it comes back into that 43, that'll give you a move. Like if you can get 42 high and risk 50 cents plus slippage, the bottom's 41. That said, it's not free locates. I know that for a fact because yesterday it was 12 cents a share, and that was up from like 3 cents a share. So I'm going to double check. If it's like 50 cents a share, I wouldn't pay it. If it's 20, if you're risking 50 cents on a trade plus slippage, you don't want the locate to be a big chunk of that because then it throws everything askew. But it's worth always having a check. And I see that little dumping pattern on DJT, and I do like that. And obviously, we're not talking anything fundamental here. You guys can see the pattern. That is 2 big wicks at resistance levels, 45, and then another one at 43. At the end of the day, I do think at some point this is going to have a nasty little run to the downside on it, but your guess is as good as mine when the real doomsday is going to come.
Yeah, doomsday, huh?
Well, maybe that's probably the wrong word, but I just, we talked about how much, they're not making it. There's no money made here. The value's really high. There's an issue for a reward for more shares, which can't even be sold yet. And when they are, it's probably going to come under pressure. So that's all. And right now you have a bit of a downward pattern. That's all. It's just a trading vehicle.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I think it's been a great trading vehicle for many. Just be careful. You don't want to be the last one holding the bag. I think that's kind of what we're
sure you got a chair when the music stops.
Trying to figure out here. All right.
I was going to ask you a question.
Market's trying to go. Oh, there was SoFi. Yeah.
Oh, this is adjacent.
Oh,
it was PayPal.
Oh, PayPal.
Okay, so PayPal high of the day up 3%. Pump it or dump it. This is a daily chart.
I'm pumping it. I think PayPal has a good opportunity to have a decent comeback. It's just one of those names that's been so beat up for so long. And I know it's probably, like you mentioned there, off the 50-period moving average. I didn't look at it. I just answered you.
That was the point. The point was to just be like, just boom, pump or dump. Right.
Yeah, only, I don't know. Right now, it doesn't look like anything.
Well, I'm just saying, like, look at this chart. You wouldn't take a breakout next week if there's
breakout of 68?
If there is any catalyst next week.
Yeah, well, there's going to be earnings.
This sucker breaking it out. Let's double check earnings on it. You're not till the 30th, so you're going to be on Tuesday, right? That's Tuesday. So.
Meta just went in and out again.
No, you're talking about Tuesday, and it has a chance to break out this local high. I mean, you don't know which way it's going to go on earnings, but if it is above 68, I know which way I'm going to want to play it. It doesn't even matter what the report is. It's like if it's.
Does it say short float on there?
2% only.
2%, okay, so that's.
So you're not going to get that, but still, the 50 and the 200 on successive higher lows, it is breaking out of a pretty long downward trend. Like that's a long downtrend that the stock's been on, and look at it now starting to crest. If this breaks 68 on earnings, I want the long next week. So that'll be, the 30th pre-market. So that should be a wild one. I'd prefer if it was aftermarket. Earnings are better in the aftermarket. I don't care what anybody says. It's more exciting.
Yes.
It's more exciting. You get the great aftermarket show for the earnings. On top of that, you get to digest it and read it on the train and go over charts at not 7:30 in the morning. And then you don't have to worry about a stupid conference call 30 minutes before the market opens, and then you don't even know what happened on it. When it's aftermarket, everybody can digest anything that might be important on the call, if there is even anything. And you get all the price action there out in front of you. But I'm going to like this one next week. I wrote it down. I mean, obviously, when it reports, we're going to know all about it. But I like this PayPal here. Shout out to anybody that's interested there. The boring man says PayPal has dumped 4 quarters in a row. Let's moon this time to 80.
Right.
Yeah, but exactly. It's been in a big downward trend. I think the risk is in the other direction now.
We are talking about this market, and we should be going long into the close here.
Should have taken that.
So we're going to be pennies away. We got out of that Meta. We talked about losing that 30 cents real quick on that one, as it just kept going up there. AMD, well, we got filled and got out of it within a couple seconds there on Meta. Tesla, I'm just making sure where our stops are, because I'm still going to use that as a stop, but I don't know. Maybe we just get out right now and just look for pullbacks to go long. I was thinking about even just going long Google. There's still 25 minutes left or 35 minutes left until imbalances. So GOOGL. This was, okay. I was wishing it was a little bit above VWAP. So now I'm looking at this and thinking like, okay, we should be shorting it off there, but we don't want to do that. Alibaba was one that we wanted to look at
It's
long
really
as well. This is okay. This is okay. But they don't move much in the afternoon. We know that. We've talked about that a little bit. So what else is a strong name? Amazon, which is NASDAQ. Let's have a quick look at that to see if there's anything here. Oops, why is it NY? Oh, yeah, because Alibaba was NY. I just like, we've missed most of these, but okay, maybe, okay, we're above the 200 period, so that's nice. So we could pull back into this area and try to support this kind of along 179.60 or so from back here where we came back in, dropped it, this level 179.60, something like that if we fall back in, but right now you're starting to take off a little bit. So you could get really aggressive and say, you know what, we're starting to play this, and then use the 200 period of 179.75 and, you know, take the long now back into this level. I don't mind that, 179.50-ish. I think maybe Amazon might work. Again, we're coming up to the high of the day again in the NASDAQ. Maybe the best thing to do is to short the TQs and not even worry about a name. We could do that.
Well, you have to
that
ask
high of
yourself,
the
you
day.
know what, it's a good point because from 3 to, I'm making up a time here, but it's probably right. From 320 to 350, let's just say. What was your highest probability trade in the last 2 weeks? Probably short the top on the Qs instead of an individual name, which is, the market's right at that high. I think it's the most appealing. I don't see anything that's at a level that I like to short. I'm just going to get trailed out of arm here. It's bouncing off of VWAP. You know, I already took it into VWAP. I was looking for this one to break down. It's not happening. Rivian could break the $9 level. Snapchat, we're probably too late to decide that we want the long off VWAP on Snapchat. But if the market's going to go, I just feel like it hasn't even broken yet. So if I can pick it up in the 30s, the high 30s in here, and it does break the top, yeah, this one could really start to go. So it's not a heck of a lot of risk to be able to hold VWAP, and it's a relatively strong name. But I'm not going to be fighting anything unless I see a great entry on shorts on the highs. I don't think anything is setting up that's really to my, I don't know the word I want to use here. Like, I don't see any like A+ setups for the short at the top. I do see some for a long if we break out this high, though.
Yeah, we probably should have done that Amazon idea that we had. Maybe it's still there. I was debating just going long on the TQs on the break. Long, not even worry about the short. It's 330 though. What else? Oh yeah, that SoFi trade. Yeah, that's what we were looking at. So SoFi actually looks okay too. It's just, will you get enough action in this? We just actually took out the top, so I'm kind of glad that we didn't punch that top. See, so it takes out the top. Looks really good again. You know, starting to make, again, lower, higher lows. Boom, 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 all the way up. So this, again, looks pretty good to get something going there on that one. Or do you just go back over to the name that we know is probably a long no matter what, is NVIDIA. So that's up to 880 again. And again, kind of bouncing off that 870, but not much happening down there. And then our one trade AMD that we're still in AMD and Tesla. This one's kind of been slowly grinding, but this is not at a horrible level right now. We were gonna wait for a little higher. Let's take a little bit of shares here on that, get some right there at 50, and wait to see about this 200 period moving average. And then do that punch out at 158.10 if we break above there. Try to get some more in at 157.80. We're still there for that trade anyways. So if we get a fill up there, I think that's worth it. Something that's under the 200 period moving average might be worth a risk, a shot again for this. Just back into VWAP, just simple plays. Let's see if we can do that. We put that on AMD right here.
There you go. And Carvana, 8% up for Carvana. I really want to buy this one into earnings, apparently. What is the short float on this thing? Because it's super strong right now. Oh, they don't report till, oh no, they report next week on Wednesday. I guess that's Wednesday next week. 30% short float still on Carvana. Where are we at on the daily? Ugh, you're right at resistance on the daily. See, this is the problem. Like, why can't it be here, and then I think there's some continuation left? No, but it's like right at the spot where you're like, I don't want that. You don't want any part of a long on the daily chart at that level before earnings. So I wanted something strong, but this is strong. It fits that bill, but I am not looking for longs into overhead resistance at 330. Like, that is a brick wall that the stock has had here. At that 84 and change has been a brick wall on Carvana. So it was a great call out. I just saw someone in the chat mention it. It was up there. I saw it was up a good percentage, and I really liked it, but nothing there. SMCI, I see some people asking about that. There you go. SMCI up 8% as well. And it too is at an obvious spot where you could be running into resistance. I don't like shorting that stock. I have one setup on SMCI, and that is a fail to break at the open and then consolidate underneath VWAP before lunchtime. Traded it 3 times in 1.5 years, and it's worked all 3 times. And I do not ever want to trade this thing against the trend, ever, under any circumstances. If it's trending up, I don't want to go long at the top, but I definitely don't want to short this name at the highs. Yeah, this is starting to feel like we could be running some tops here. Let's go back to Micron, because Micron was the strongest name. It's trying to take out this high, maybe a 115 on Micron. Still can't get Snapchat off VWAP even.
So we got a super chat there. We talked about from Ian Respeto there for Eli Lilly, what to possibly expect. I mean, the thing is their guidance was above the street, right, last time. So I feel like they're going to potentially beat again as they did. Earnings per share on their last report, 249 versus 222. They beat that pretty handily. Also beat it on the revenue side of things. You made a point there. I don't know what the situation on around here is in Canada, but you are hearing reports, of course, of them getting some of their supply back online. And if more and more of these, I guess you need a prescription for these GLP-1 drugs, but if more and more of these doctors are going to keep prescribing them, then I think people are going to keep taking them. So also, apparently new studies coming through that they're helping with other potential addictions and things like that. They got to get more approvals from the FDA coming through. The only problem was their Alzheimer's drug got delayed a little bit. So we're going to wait to hear about a forward look on that. But for me, underneath the 50-period moving average, one of the most expensive stocks, market cap-wise, in the world, continuously beats the S&P 500 year over year. I have a graphic that we'll be showing you on the podcast for that. I like Eli Lilly down here to possibly beat again and raise. Again, talking about new drugs in the pipeline, talking about demand for their current Mounjaro. Is that what their one is? They're the GLP-1 Mounjaro, yeah. So lots of stuff happening for Eli Lilly. I would say this is a name that I would expect that even if it doesn't beat, we probably have some little bit of runway there to give it some time. So I like this name. I would think that it's a long heading into earnings, but we'll wait to see what happens there. The average analyst, I was just looking this up, rating is a strong buy, and the average price target on the street is $845. So there we go. And there, even Martin in the chat, you know, no insider trading around here, but Martin in the chat is like, some doctors are telling me to buy it. So yeah, there it is, Eli Lilly.
Oh, word?
Yeah, you know, so
I just sold some.
I just bought some. So I like Eli Lilly. I think it works at these levels, and I'm excited for April 30th.
I should fully explain that. Like, one of the reasons, just for an example, like I made the determination. Like, did I really think that I wanted Eli Lilly to be a bigger holding for me than, quite frankly, like I own more Eli Lilly at the time than Microsoft, which I didn't think was the right call. So I was just been trimming it because I was kind of aggressively buying it into this because I really like that GLP thing. But at the end of the day, I just felt like it made more sense to trim a little bit of that and just put that money into the Qs. You know, to step back a little bit. Wow, Snapchat was just breaking out. I was like, oh, I missed it. I didn't get those fills. And it was at 60s, and next thing I know, I'm long at 47. So Snapchat did that, breaking out, and then it did the dip buy. So hopefully that's a happy accident, and we can get a push back in to some of those tops. Snapchat up 27%. One of the stronger names in the market today, although the market, you know, regardless of this 27% or Google's incredible numbers, the fact that we have a 2% day to end the week when you could have expected profit taking, when Bitcoin couldn't hold 65,000, I'd like to say that's a really great sign for the overall market. I feel like the Qs are the winner today, but let's go to the screen with Adara.
Let's talk about some of the S&P 500 names making big moves that maybe we haven't discussed as much. And I'm going to start us off with one that I know we have talked about. Intel here, down about 10%. They did have lower than expected revenue and EPS estimates and also miss on revenue. But the reason I'm bringing this one up as well is later in the day here, Bloomberg reporting that Apollo, KKR, and Stonepeak are in talks for a joint venture for Intel's JV chips. So interesting stuff there for INTC, couple stories of note. The rest of these are all going to be earnings names as well. ABV to the downside here. Really strong earnings, but they did lower their guidance from what was previously expected for its 2024 adjusted EPS. So bit of a guidance miss there for ABBV. Last but not least, Phillips 66, PSX, weaker than the rest of these oil names here, despite a couple of these names reporting. They did have an EPS miss and also reported much lower numbers in the previous quarter for several revenue segments. So interesting look here. Lots of big names making big moves as we head into the end of the week, guys.
Yeah, big moves.
Yeah.
And I was saying this about Intel. When you look at that midpoint, it was 12.5 to 13.5 with expectations 12.68. That is, like, their midpoint was better than the expectation, and they still got beat down because they don't have AI. They're behind there, and it's going to take a while for their other things to work out, and they're losing in data center as well to AMD. So, but I've said this before. So Snapchat was the newest position. Rivian, I'm short at 94, and Rivian's at 94. So, hey, great. It's not breaking $9, but it's not pulling into VWAP either. So this new position is only going to be Snapchat here. Let's look for a push back into those 60s, and then if it can get even to like 75, 80, then we'll have another VWAP bounce. Although I could have been in this one actually at VWAP, and we didn't take it. Should have just taken this at VWAP, but at the time I was feeling bearish.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired here, but we're still waiting for this market to wake up as well. Nice little push downside here. Let's see what winds up happening. We have our positions. We're 15 cents in the money now on AMD. We do have a bid down here to try to capture some of that. Okay, well, it just bounced off us again. We were right there at the 50-period moving average, waiting to see about getting something on that end, but doesn't look like we're going to for now. So AMD trying to come back in. We'll take a bid here at 28 or whatever I'm waiting for, if that does want to fall in. Tesla, what's up to Lacanoli there? I like that name in the chat. We just were Dollar Club members there, but then now we're only half that. So not great. You know, you get 50 cents back on that one. We'll see what happens there. It's that joke. I can't remember what it is. Like I said, too tired. About a 50 cent in a Nickelback concert. I don't know, something about that. You get a Nickelback, 50 cent. I don't know, something. I can't remember what it is.
There's a joke in there
was
somewhere
there.
Or the joke is just Nickelback. That, you know, it could be that too.
Yeah, I don't know, Nickelback, yeah. All right.
You know
all
what?
right.
I shouldn't even. Whatever. They've
I mean, like when you go to a 50
sold a
cent
lot of
concert,
albums
you get like a
or
Nickelback.
records, I think you're supposed to say.
All right, so here we go. That's
I'm not a big Nickelback fan.
Yeah. Adair's trying to figure the pun out over there, I hear. All right, so that's what that is. Yeah, honestly, there's not a whole heck of a lot. The best play might be to just sort of sit around and do nothing. Checking in on some banks. I just saw WFC was maybe moving, so yes, it is coming back into $60. As I don't know what's going on with this one. This looks like a nice little trend to the downside. Maybe breaking that $60.20 mark on the 200 period. That could be a move back down for that. Come on, AMD. Like, we're going to make money here at the end of the day. This is 60 cents in the money. We put that trade on. We did lose on our Meta short. We talked about that right in there. That happened. AMD right now as well just bounced again off of 30s. Hopefully we'll be able to get that fill at some point. And, yeah. Oh, yeah, SoFi. I know you guys are mentioning SoFi there, and you just probably want me to talk about it. But I'll just tell you why I'm not going to trade this. There's no way that in 10 minutes, when these imbalances come out, that SoFi is going to give enough of any kind of a move to do anything. I feel like all that's going to happen is I'm going to get stopped out of SoFi. And what I mean by that is like it's just going to fill both ways. Like I could punch the long at 85, and then when it doesn't go, where's my stop going to be? Down here at 80, well then it runs that, and then you just quickly lose 5 cents, when realistically there was never a chance for it to do much.
On that note, I actually just punched out of Rivian for like a 1.5 cent hit because it's the same reason. Like at the time, Tesla was tanking and this was pulling back off 9. So my whole reasoning would be, hey, look, there's 9. It's a lower high short. If Tesla continues to flush, why wouldn't you see it moving to view up? But you know what? If it doesn't move, it doesn't move at the end of the day. But SoFi, the only thing I'll add to SoFi is, hey, they report Monday morning. So I think that's probably, but it's not doing anything. But yeah, Monday morning report, that is the one. Almost nobody, when you get to a Monday morning, you're not usually going to have earnings. It's SoFi and then you get not that anybody trades Berkshire, but then you get Berkshire on Sundays. And everything else, you got to wait until the middle of the week. So Snapchat, we're going to scalp some out because this market really isn't moving some. So we get the higher low, we'll play it into the resistance that was at the 60 level, and we'll see if it can't get into 75. But it's 340 already. Just to let you guys know, like, you're running out of time here. Early look names, not a heck of a lot. Visa, which is showing up every single day on the imbalances, is a 2 million early sell. Pinterest is a 900,000 sell. It's I feel like usually I get a good read on Pinterest earnings because you'll have like Meta, and then you'll have the reaction by Snapchat, and sometimes that'll be the same direction, but Meta went down and Snapchat went to the moon. So I'm feeling like, you know, Pinterest could shoot the middle, but very different name. But it's all about the advertising story for them. I know Snapchat has some efficiencies that they were able to pull a rabbit out of the hat on. Pinterest, a bit of a different story. It's always about the takeout for them. If somebody's willing to buy Pinterest, I think that's where it gets exciting. But I've been in that stock on that speculation. I remember it got to a support level and there were buyout rumors. I'm like, oh, I'll buy some support here. Sat in it, nothing happened, and then you end up selling. I feel like the best way to play that buyout speculation is just like you play options for like a 3 month. At least you know either it happens before that time or whatever. Because then you're sitting in something forever waiting for news to hit, and you have no idea if it's going to even come. I think at some point someone picks them up, but good luck guessing when.
Yeah, Pinterest, huh? All right, so I was kind of like mocking people for wanting to trade SoFi because it doesn't do anything, and then I looked over and I was like, AMD's not doing anything either. This is even more of a barcode. And okay, well, there it is. All right, take it back. No, but either way, still pretty barcoded right there. So we just shorted 50s. We just got out there at 28s, which was the 50 period, is the 50 period moving average. Hopefully we can fall down. I don't have any bids for AMD except for at 158 in case it does, sorry, 157, in case we do come into that level, which it looks like we're going to do that right now. So we'll put a bid out there, see if we can get something upside or downside on that one. Hopefully Tesla does make that move back in and we'll be able to capture that. But for right now, it's AMD.
Oh, wow.
It's a short. That was good, obviously, there on Snapchat for a little bit of a reload. Didn't someone say that a firm was going crazy before?
By the way, just to acknowledge, we don't really trade Forex, but USD yen is making a power move up here. It is making a strong trend into the upside. We don't have the percentage here, but yeah, big move up there. A firm is a weird one because for the life of me, I know PayPal's up, but you know, a firm and PayPal aren't the same thing. And if you look at a firm, it's hard to be excited about this. If there is a more clean, gentle downward trend that's just getting people a false sense of confidence, it could be this. Right into a $30 bottom, and then the 200 periods at 30. When do they report? Because if that loses the 200 period moving average, it drops to this level's like 20 bucks. It's still 12% short float. They report in 2 weeks, so we don't get them next week. We get them the week after. I think early next week we'll get, early 2 weeks from now we'll get a firm, and they could be under a lot of pressure. I know they're starting to charge interest, but it's just a gentle glide down. If it loses the 30 level, even if it does before that, I think I'd be looking for the short on a firm. So inside of this range, I'd be sitting it out. Like, why guess it when it's a long? If it breaks and holds above the 50 period, which it hasn't done for a while, then it's probably going to squeeze some people. So just wait for that to happen or wait for earnings. Otherwise, the trend has been pretty clear since that 50 right at the end of last year. Like, it's perfectly timed to be the worst return, possible return on the year, because its high was, this is January, no, never mind. The high was actually December 29th. So yeah, it would have been even better.
Right,
it would have been better if it was January 2nd, would have been that high at 52, but it was actually the last day, trading day of the year. But since then, look at that. It's a short till it's not a firm. I don't care if it's up 5%.
All right, there it is right there for AMD. I mean, we take the top right back into the VWAP again. So that's going to be a good one. You know, short there, out, short there, out, out. Now let's hold this one piece to see if we can get lower. We'll wait for that. Yeah, strong US dollar, obviously, generally bad news for tech companies. So if the US dollar keeps going to the upside, you got to repatriate your money back over into US dollars. So not a great thing when it's so super high like that with the Forex. But we'll wait to see what happens. We haven't heard anybody out of the last couple reports come through talk. I mean, I haven't noted it anyways about any currency head or tailwinds. So I feel like they're probably well either hedged or got that side of the business figured out. So that generally used to be a story when the market, maybe when it moved a little more than it's been doing, but still. We used to hear about that, right? The currency head or
last
tailwind.
quarter, Microsoft was talking about it even.
So that could be something, maybe look out for that. I mean, what's the big company? I mean, Apple, obviously, that would be a good story for them to talk about. We'll see if they do talk about that on their quarter coming up Wednesday of next week. So we'll wait for that one to come through. All right, AMD just broke, kind of, I think, there. Down, and then we rejected that spot again. So shout out to when we were being asked about what the strategy might be on a break like something like that. That's why we didn't take it again. Well, I'm not taking it right now anyways, it's 345, but that's, to me, that's the strategy that we've been talking about there. Wait for the break, and then play it off that. So again, you take that level, and now we would, if I was gonna go short, I would use like the 50 period here, which is still the same, 157.28. Break that bottom now, and then you're gone. See, it didn't break. Didn't break that last bottom. So you wouldn't be short yet on this name, the way I'm looking at this. So that's that trade.
It's the only trade available on a stock like
Tesla's
that.
coming back up
That
here.
50-cent range. You've just got to accept the
was my
range that the
stop?
market is willing to give you. So, you know, that's what it's all about. It's not about, you can have all the volatility in the world from 9:30 to
4 minutes.
You know, whatever, call it 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, but if power hour is going to give you scalp trades or smaller wins inside of a range, then that's all you can go out there and take. I thought Boeing was going to follow through on that short trade. I mean, it was 167.5 and 167. I got out. It's still basically at the exact same level. So if I hold on to it, maybe I eke an extra 10 cents out of the last little bit, but no follow through whatsoever. And a Snapchat might end up being a similar story. Maybe it can't punch higher. Like, VWAP entry would have been great because then you'd be already in the money, would have made that second push, and you could be adding to it. But instead, I don't get it until it's back at the 47 level, and it can't even break 60s here. So because it's 46, I just moved my stop to just at that break-even spot because we are at imbalance time any second now. So when that happens, you know, Snapchat's a name that reported and is up 28%, so even a small imbalance could really move it. It's a Friday, you could see some profit taking. I don't want this like flashing VWAP, and I don't have a stop to cover me to get out. So shout out to everybody. You know, I appreciate all the names you had us look at. We tried to look at a few of them. I know we looked at GameStop for a little something. It's not really doing much. Some people were asking about that DJT. What's it going to do? Is it going to rally? And the answer was, that's not New York. No, not at all. Right back into VWAP. Didn't really break that 43 for an entry, but right back into VWAP. Up 9%, but unless you had already paid for the locates and had been shorting that level, didn't quite get up there the third time.
Okay, here we go. It's Tesla time. One last stand for Tesla.
The last stand.
I was going to say something like, unlike Donald, who will be probably on the stand a couple times, we're going to have to wait to see. Oh, you're just talking about DJT. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think, yeah, you know, he's going to be on there. Or maybe not. All right, here we go to the downside right now, hopefully for Tesla. One last shot on this one, kind of like a line in the sand. We already got stopped out once right there. And so we'll put it back. And this is the best part about the trade is it just went up into this area. So now our stop is 60s, so 30 cents. You can see where we're short here, it's 40 cents. I think the slippage will be okay into the close here, so we'll watch out for that call. But it's one that I'm going to make and be pretty confident with, so let's just see if we can get that movement here on this name. So DJT. Tesla, if we can get it falling back into 168, we will take a couple bids there. Okay, I only have out, I have about 15% out at 168 flat. So we'll take 20 cents, which isn't that much, but we're trying to risk 40 cents. So let's take out like 10 or 15% at 168. And then if we're lucky enough, it kind of started down here, 167.60. Let's put a bid down there and see if that's where we can get filled now on this trade. So far so good here for Tesla, but it's just in the pocket and not moving. So it's just stopping at this level, but we are now 1 minute away from those imbalances to come out. And if this is a buy, then we will get taken out through that 168. If it's a sell, our bids will fill and we'll be pretty lucky. So let's get some out here, especially if we tank. Take a piece out before this imbalance.
I think it was like 400,000 or 500,000.
Here it comes.
The other day, but less than a minute to go. I have one position on. I've tightened the stop.
Little lower,
I have a
little
take
lower.
profit up there. That's all we need in about 30 seconds. Visa was the only significant thing over 1 million shares there on the early look, so that was 2 million. Probably going to come out as that and then pair off at 55. We'll let you know real time when these do come out. Watch out, Nvidia is making another run at the high of the day. If Nvidia can, oh wow,
Taking out
Nvidia
one more.
closing 880 is going to be, that's insane.
Yeah,
Can't get over
yeah. I just want to say, I just quickly, it's going to come out. I just letting people know because this is a position I just took on. We just got out some at 168 flat, so we did that on purpose. We'll put that 20 cents in our pocket now and hold. We still have half of this trade. There's the imbalances out right now. It's dancing around a bit.
Yeah, well, it's Pfizer at 3.2 million to
Okay.
sell. That's the biggest, and then you get AT&T, Verizon, buys. It doesn't really matter.
It looks like it's going to.
Yeah, Pinterest, nothing. Intel's a buy of 800,000.
I think this market's going to probably rally.
You do
up.
you. SoFi is a buy of 800,000. Marvell 740,000. Where are the names that matter, everybody? I'm not seeing them. Sometimes they're
Where did
already
you go?
late. No, none of the big names are in here. Intel 800,000.
SoFi.
And Pinterest and Marvell. Really? Rocket
SoFi?
Labs? That's
Really?
like a $4 stock.
All right.
Not a single big cap tech name until we get to Apple at 470,000 to sell. That's yeah. So the imbalances are at absolute nothing burger. Now let's go to Adara.
Something coming out quickly here before the close. The Athletic reporting that Amazon Prime is in talks with and has the framework for a deal to acquire enough NBA broadcasting rights to actually have a standout in the market and make it one of the main homes for league games. So Amazon acquiring some NBA broadcast rights for the NBA and actually in talks to have a deal that will outshine TNT, NBC, and other NBA errors, guys.
I don't watch much NBA.
I don't watch much of the NBA either.
I was just asking Sean, like, what do you think about? Because Philly, like Embiid, they're down 2-1. Like Philly to the.
Yeah, he was
to
treated
the
for cerebral
Knicks.
palsy, by the way, too. So, yeah, Embiid, we'll have to see if he's okay after that one. Okay, so just real quick, we did get some out there on AMD right there. That was just our last piece. I was just like, I don't want to let a winning trade turn into a losing trade here into the close. So I canceled all that. So we're out of that one. We are out of half of Tesla. It's flat right now. I'm still waiting for lower. I mean, I'll take it if it comes through. So that's the trade there for me on Tesla. Hopefully a little bit of a lower print, and we'll be fine with that one on Tesla breaking a little lower. If it breaks through 50, we're gone. We sort of talked about that one. That's the only trade that we have on. I guess we could have held our AMD a little bit, but as you could see, yeah, back in. Okay, whatever. That's okay. That sucks now. There it comes back in for AMD. When we didn't see it, when I didn't see it on the board there,
really
and
see
the
much
market was going up. What did we get there? What was the total number again?
It's 950 million to sell.
Sell. Oh, I should have held it then if it was.
Yeah, but not that anything actually gave us the indication that it was like it was nothing big. Apple was a $500,000 to the sell side, and Intel's like $1 million buy, but that's like a relief rally. So I trailed out just now. Snapchat, it really tried to push a little higher. The better trade would have been to go long off of VWAP because at least then you get 35s into 70s. And maybe you get like a 25 cent, 20 to 25 cent win for risk to reward. I don't take it till it gets up here, so you end up with a pretty small win. It just goes to show, like, price is everything when it comes to trading. In investing, time matters more. In trading, price matters. The VWAP hold was better here. I can acknowledge that, and we got into it a little bit late, but I was bearish at that moment. And that's sort of the thing. Like, sometimes your bias is good because it gives you the conviction and all that good stuff, but every now and then, it gets you away from something. If you're biased to the short side, you get away from a really good long or a decent long setup, but there's nothing you can do about it. So all I can say is next time, that's a pretty obvious entry for a VWAP bounce on a strong stock, and we shouldn't have waited an extra 10 pennies on that thing. We should have just taken it right away. But that's on me. Kyle W., it's good to be in Denver. Go Nuggets, go Avalanche. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, but we all know it's going to be the Nuggets versus the Celtics. I'm just curious to see, are the Knicks going to pull it off? Because it's. I don't know.
That's a great rivalry. Yeah,
My
Knicks.
beef with the NBA sometimes is look, Jokic is great, Denver's amazing, Tatum is great, Boston's amazing, but how exciting is it when you know exactly who's going to be in the finals? In the NHL, I have no idea who's going to be in there. I don't watch it till the playoffs.
It always mixes up.
In the NFL, okay, fine. I mean, sometimes you know who's
As
going
long
to
as
be there.
Mahomes is around.
Yeah, Mahomes and Brady make it different, but I like that whole you have no idea. That's what makes the NCAA tournament better than the NBA. Because until it's the finals, it's like I don't care. You know, let's just fast forward to Jokic versus Tatum, and then everything else is a bit of a waste of time.
Ain't wrong. Right there, that should be a great final. Hopefully,
It will be. I think it'll be a great final, but we have
and
to
hopefully
wait.
there's no injuries or anything like that, and hopefully Jokic's brother doesn't punch people in the face. Okay, so right here, yeah, he does that. Yeah. All right, so Tesla, we just get a fill down there at 168. We got 168.04 there on a pushback down in. So this cannot go bad. So that's good whenever that happens. We'll wait to see here at 55 when we do get a potential flip of whatever you get updates on these imbalances at 355. So let's just see if anything happens. It's 355 right now. I don't see like any NASDAQ names on here. I almost feel like the NASDAQ's broken, but there's Apple with a sell. Here comes Tesla. So we're going to get punched out of this in just a couple seconds as it takes 60s and to the upside. So what's been a pretty good day here today just gets stopped out there on Tesla. That's going to be not even an L. We'll take money on that trade and then get away from it. So good trade to end the day. Obviously, we were very cautious about our share size heading into the close with the imbalances upon us. So again, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you do hit the like and subscribe. And then tomorrow we do have, of course, the podcast that we're going to be filming immediately after this. We got some great content that we're going to talk about, some fun stuff. Brendan and I on the ones and twos, and then check that out tomorrow at 10 o'clock on all your podcasting platforms.
Yeah, listen to it,
YouTube.
watch it, whatever you like. We can answer the question, why did Microsoft wait until the end of the day to be the most volatile thing? Like all day long, Microsoft was the one you didn't want to trade.
405?
And then look at the VWAP retracement. Like, come on. We always talk about the VWAP trades in the afternoon. And look, Microsoft, given the way that it moved, I was not interested in it. But then, of course, now it flushes. There wasn't an imbalance or anything to give you this second leg into the downside. But remember, Microsoft didn't blow things out of the water. Like in comparison, Google blew knocked everyone's socks off. And then Microsoft was just kind of like, yeah, it was good, but compared to Google, it was nothing. So Microsoft may be getting a little bit of exhaustion. No idea why it's going to fall like that, but the market doesn't have to be rational. Pull back a little bit. It's a VWAP retracement trade. Congrats if anyone had it. Gerson Benson just said now Coinbase goes down, up.
Just broke 64,000. Up or down?
What the heck?
Was there news on Coinbase?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even look at because Bitcoin was doing nothing under 65,000. These were all off the radar for me today, and Coinbase is suddenly like, why is this so strong today? That makes absolutely no sense to me. But it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to report next week, and then we can trade it then. They report on the 2nd, so that'll be what, Thursday? I think.
Which name?
Coinbase.
Coinbase.
It's still a busy week next week. Right, like that's another reason you guys are going to be going over this one, I would assume, because if you're strong without Bitcoin, Coinbase has that 8% short float still on the daily chart. Coinbase is kind of hugging the 50 period in a good way, believe it or not. So that's not that bad for coin here. Looks interesting.
Yeah, Coinbase is an interesting name. We'll have to definitely look at that one next week. I mean, I bit today just to look at a ETF for NASDAQ or for Bitcoin. Here's a 20-minute chart right here. 36, yeah. So we've looked at that level a couple times. That must be that $64,000 mark, which we're at right now for crypto. So 63 and change. Only 2 minutes to go. Let's just do a quick little look on those imbalances to see if anything has changed at all. NEE, so Pfizer was on there. Now it's gone. So let's have a quick look to see what Pfizer is. $25.
The stock who says nee.
Pathetic Pfizer. What the hell? 52-week lows for that name. Probably worth picking something up there. I would choose the XLV or IBB instead.
Dump it.
J&J. Yeah, so not much happening. Apple. Wow. Okay, so Apple drops $1 there into a buy imbalance. So yeah, that was strange. Straight down for Apple into the close. Wish that was Tesla. AMD, nothing. Tesla, really nothing. Check Meta on that. Meta got to 444. That I would have shorted that 1,000%. You guys know that, but heading into that close, not worth it for me. It's okay, missed opportunity. We'll wait for 444 again. And then the strongest name today, it's not the strongest name, but up 10%, probably the best as far as percentage-wise.
Yes.
But the whole play was pretty much earnings. So
Yeah.
Google didn't do much all day. Dropped down to 170, then back up to 173, and then going to end the day right here.
Yeah, the winner today, I mean, the way NVIDIA went, I
Yeah.
think that was kind of like the golden child. And then the same thing, I mean, you could probably talk about SMCI or Micron, were both pretty strong. But yeah, because if you're in the chips and you are not tied
it's
to
gonna
what's
be
going on with AI, then you're either with it or you're Intel. That's basically what we've learned here today. And everybody else is with it. Let's get with it to Adara and get this countdown on for the end of the week. And it's been a wild one and a fun one. Adara in 5, 4, 3, 2, you know what to do.
All right, that was quick, and that is that. So, all right, thanks again. Thank you to everybody watching our midday show all week with Sharif and Adara. Shout out to them for doing that. Shout out to Ramin, Fabian, all the guys behind us. Good week so far.
Patrick.
Patrick, yeah, everybody that keeps attending. Wayne, Brankles.
Hydration Nation from
Yeah, I'm
there.
all out of hydration. All right. Busy weekend. I'm already like exhausted from just thinking about the weekend. What do you guys have planned?
Well, it's Otani's in town, so I'm going to the game tonight. I'm going to the game tomorrow. I'm getting my winter tires off, so I have to get that. Whatever, man. It's just
Might be a good
there's
idea.
stuff that you got to do. And then on Sunday, we've got dance on Sunday.
script?
And I think we have some kind of a play date that we're doing on Sunday as well. I have.
All
to
right,
check
those
our
are always
calendar,
fun.
But
Those are always fun.
it's supposed to be warm but raining all weekend. So, yuck.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Lava, Chase Bands, Alvin, everybody, Hugh.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, from everybody here, including Fabian, who always has a camera in his hands and takes random pictures
We should
of
take
us
pictures
all
of you
of the time.
someday, Fabian.
We'll post it on TikTok. Go find us on TikTok, Instagram, everywhere that's streamed. I see Ramin. She's got a date.
And don't forget to check
on
out
all
the podcast tomorrow
socials.
morning.
Get your phone, QR code that. What does this mean, Ramin? You're just slowly going on this? Okay, we will see everybody Monday. Have a good weekend. Ciao.
Ciao.